Talia stepped off the shuttle, her boots crunching against the silver-gray floor of Zyphera's main spaceport. The air smelled faintly metallic, and the hum of engines and chatter in alien languages filled her ears. All around, creatures of every shape and size moved with precision, their limbs and appendages unlike anything she had ever seen. Some had multiple eyes arranged in strange patterns, while others glided smoothly on levitating pads. The Academy's campus stretched out before her, a maze of towers and transparent domes, glowing softly under Zyphera's twin suns. Clinging tightly to her belt was a small cub. Its fur shimmered with a muted golden glow, and its eyes were far too intelligent for a typical animal. Talia stroked its head gently. "Don't worry, Echo, we'll show them we belong here," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly with nerves. Echo nuzzled her hand and let out a soft, almost musical chirp in response. Despite its tiny size, it radiated a quiet confidence as if it already knew its purpose here. The moment Talia stepped into the main corridor, she felt dozens of eyes on her. Alien cadets paused mid-stride to stare. Whispers traveled quickly. "A human," one muttered, its voice like a ripple of glass. "And she brought that thing?" another said, pointing at Echo. The small cub clung to Talia's belt, completely unbothered by the scrutiny. Talia knew she had to stay calm, but she could feel her heart pounding. Talia had trained for this moment for years. Humans were rare in this sector of the galaxy, and the Academy was known for producing elite explorers, tacticians, and engineers. Most species here were taller, stronger, or faster, but humans had something else: creativity, adaptability, and determination. She hoped to prove it, though the laughter and stares made her doubt herself for a fleeting moment. "Echo," she murmured, "just follow my lead." The cub tilted its head, and Talia felt a small surge of courage. Together, they stepped into the central training hall where the Academy's orientation was about to begin. The hall was massive. Transparent floors allowed a view of the lower levels where other cadets were already testing their skills. Screens floated mid-air, displaying holographic star maps and simulation exercises. Talia's instructor, a tall, crystalline being named Zoran, stood at the front. Its body shimmered in fractal patterns, and its voice resonated deep in the room, vibrating through the floor and walls. "Welcome, new cadets," Zoran began, eyes flickering like starlight. "This academy trains the galaxy's future leaders. Here, you will learn, compete, and grow. But most importantly, you will learn that the unexpected often holds the key to success." A group of alien cadets, their limbs long and spindly, exchanged amused whispers. One leaned down and said something to another in a language Talia didn't understand, and they both laughed, glancing at her and then at Echo. Talia ignored them, focusing on the instructor's words. She could feel Echo shift on her belt, pressing close to her side as if sensing her discomfort. The small cub had been with her through training, travel, and countless simulations back on Earth, and it had always been her strength in moments of uncertainty. After the orientation, cadets were divided into groups for their first exercise, a simple reconnaissance simulation in the virtual fields beyond the campus. Talia's group included the spindly twins who had laughed at her, a three-armed scholar with glittering eyes, and a large, hulking cadet who looked like he could crush a boulder with one swing. They all turned their gazes to her and muttered under their breaths. "Human," one of the twins said. "And what is that pet supposed to do?" "Echo isn't just a pet," she said firmly. "It can detect frequencies, mimic sounds, and analyze signals. It'll help us in the simulation." The simulation field materialized around them. Virtual terrain spread in every direction, mountains, forests, and rivers generated from the Academy's vast database. Holographic creatures moved among the trees, and hidden signal nodes were scattered across the map. The exercise was to locate, scan, and collect data from these nodes while avoiding interference from the simulated wildlife. As soon as the simulation started, the other cadets raced ahead. They moved with practiced efficiency, ignoring Talia and her small cub. She activated Echo, whispering instructions. The cub's fur shimmered slightly, and it leapt to a nearby rock, scanning the surroundings with its glowing eyes. Within moments, Echo chirped a sequence of tones, alerting Talia to a hidden node buried beneath a dense patch of trees. Talia approached carefully, following Echo's signals. She reached the node and activated it with a simple command, retrieving the data successfully. When the other cadets realized she had completed her task before them, a murmur ran through the group. The twins' laughter faltered, replaced by surprise. One muttered, "Did the human just?" Even he seemed impressed, though he didn't say anything. When the simulation ended, Zoran appeared beside them, its crystalline body reflecting the field's fading light. "Interesting," it said, its voice low and resonant. "Most cadets rely on raw strength or speed. You relied on observation, adaptation, and cooperation. That is a distinctly human approach." "Remarkable." After the exercise, the cadets gathered in the mess hall. Echo clung to Talia's belt, peering at the alien food with curious eyes. Others stared, some with admiration, others with lingering doubt. Talia sat alone at first, unsure if she wanted to face further mockery. But then the hulking cadet approached, his presence intimidating yet not unfriendly. "You did well today," he said simply. "That cub, it's impressive." His voice lacked the usual teasing tone. Talia blinked, surprised. "Thank you," she said quietly. "It's been with me a long time." Echo chirped softly, as if acknowledging the compliment. By the end of the day, Talia realized that her first challenge had not been the simulation itself, it had been the judgment of her peers. She had faced ridicule, doubt, and fear, but she had also proven herself quietly, without arrogance or shouting. Humans had a subtle way of making their strengths known, and she intended to continue doing so with Echo by her side. As night fell on the academy, the twin suns dipping below the horizon, Talia climbed to her small quarters. She set Echo on the bed, and it curled up, purring softly. She looked out the window at the sprawling campus below, lights twinkling like stars. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, alien politics, rigorous training, and more exercises that would test her in every way. But for the first time, she felt a spark of confidence. She whispered to Echo, "They laughed at us today, but they'll remember us tomorrow, and the next day." "We're just getting started." Echo chirped in agreement, its tiny body glowing faintly in the dim light. Together, they were ready to face the academy and show everyone that humans could be more than anyone expected. Sleep came slowly, filled with thoughts of simulations, strategies, and the unspoken determination that humans carried. And far below, the alien cadets who had laughed at the cub whispered quietly among themselves, uncertain what to make of this human girl and her strange, glowing companion. The first day had ended, but the story was only beginning. The next morning, the academy buzzed with more activity than Talia had seen on her first day. Cadets moved quickly between classrooms, labs, and training fields, their expressions sharp and focused. Talia tightened the straps of her pack, making sure Echo clung securely to her belt. The cub's tiny paws rested lightly against her side, its glowing eyes scanning the crowd. Talia felt a small wave of pride. Even in a sea of unfamiliar creatures, she wasn't alone. Her first class of the day was signal analysis and field reconnaissance, taught by an instructor named Lyran. Lyran was an alien with 6 limbs and a segmented metallic exoskeleton. Its voice was a rhythmic hum that resonated with a subtle authority, and its eyes, 4 of them, tracked every cadet's movement. "Today," Lyran began, "you will learn how to detect, decode, and interpret signals in hostile environments. Some signals are simple. Others are complex, designed to mislead even the most experienced explorers." Talia smiled and adjusted her stance, ready to show her unique abilities. The first exercise was simple in theory. Cadets had to locate hidden signal nodes in a simulated terrain, decode the patterns, and relay the data back to the instructors. Most cadets immediately dashed into the simulation, using speed, brute strength, or sheer force to reach the nodes. The twins who had mocked Talia yesterday moved together, laughing at her cautious approach. "You're going to lose again," one whispered. "That little creature won't save you this time." Within moments, Echo chirped a complex series of tones, each one indicating a signal node's location and the pattern of its frequencies. Talia followed, crouching low and moving carefully through the virtual terrain. As she reached the first node, she realized the other cadets had run into a problem. The twins had triggered a false signal trap, and their instruments were giving them conflicting readings. They cursed and argued in their own language, trying to make sense of the interference. Talia smiled faintly. Humans didn't always rely on raw data. Sometimes intuition and observation mattered more than rigid instruments. She reached the node and touched it with a small scanning device. Echo emitted another sequence of tones, guiding her hand. The device responded instantly, decoding the signals faster than any alien cadet had managed. Talia retrieved the data and moved on to the second node, which was hidden beneath a thick grove of virtual trees. The twins were still struggling, tripping over obstacles and misreading signals. Talia, on the other hand, let Echo lead the way. The cub climbed a tree and scanned the node with its glowing eyes. Its chirps guided Talia precisely, and within moments she had completed the task flawlessly. By the time she returned to the starting point, some cadets were staring in disbelief. The hulking cadet who had barely spoken yesterday gave her a small nod of approval. Even the twins, still flustered from their mistakes, glanced at her with a mixture of irritation and surprise. Lyron's 4 eyes focused on Talia. "Remarkable," it said. "Most cadets rely on brute force or speed. Your approach combined observation, adaptation, and teamwork with your companion. That is efficient." "It's just luck. Any human could get one node right." One cadet, a slender being with translucent skin and flowing, ribbon-like limbs, approached her hesitantly. "Your cub, it can detect patterns other instruments, Ka?" they asked. "Yes," Talia said. "Echo can mimic signals, analyze frequencies, and even alert me to anomalies. It helps me see what others might miss." I didn't think humans could integrate with technology this way. The day continued with a series of increasingly difficult exercises. Some involved navigating obstacle courses, others required solving signal-based puzzles or coordinating with other cadets to complete tasks under time pressure. Each time, Talia and Echo worked together seamlessly. The cub's ability to mimic complex frequencies and detect hidden patterns gave her a clear advantage. By midday, whispers about the human and her cub had spread throughout the academy. Some cadets began to follow at a distance, curious to see how Talia approached each challenge. The twins, however, continued to mock her. "Let's see if your little pet can save you from this one said, pointing to a particularly tricky obstacle course filled with shifting platforms and energy barriers. Talia didn't respond. She focused on the course ahead, studying the movement of the platforms, the timing of the energy barriers, and the rhythm of the sensors embedded in the field. Echo climbed onto her shoulder, its small claws gripping lightly. It emitted a series of chirps that synchronized with the energy pulses, allowing Talia to move with precise timing. She leapt from platform to platform, barely touching the surfaces, while the twins struggled to keep their balance. By the end of the exercise, Talia had completed the course flawlessly. Cadets who had doubted her earlier were now watching with respect, some openly discussing her methods. The twins were fuming, clearly frustrated that their attempts to outshine her had failed. When the final results were displayed on the floating screens, Talia's name appeared at the top of the leaderboard for the day's exercises. A few cadets murmured in disbelief. One of the instructors, a bird-like alien with wings that shimmered in multiple colors, clapped slowly. "The human excels not through strength, but through ingenuity and collaboration. Take note, all of you." After the exercises, Talia returned to her quarters, where Echo immediately curled up at her feet. She sat beside the small cub, running her fingers through its soft fur. "We did well today," she whispered. "They laughed at us, but we showed them humans aren't what they think." Echo chirped softly, as if agreeing. As evening fell, Talia reviewed the day's experiences. She made notes about each cadet's strengths and weaknesses, including the twins who had mocked her. Understanding others was part of human strategy, observation, analysis, and planning. She realized that while she had gained some respect, the real challenge would be earning trust and proving that humans could lead, not just follow. The next morning promised new tests, simulated missions with larger teams, exercises in alien technology, and tasks designed to push cadets to their limits. Talia felt a mix of anticipation and determination. She knew Echo would be at her side, ready to help her navigate each obstacle. Together, they were an unusual pair, underestimated by most but capable of remarkable achievements. As she drifted to sleep that night, Talia imagined the days ahead. The academy was full of intelligent, skilled beings, each with their own abilities and pride. Some would doubt her, some would try to compete, and some would eventually respect her. But one thing was certain: humans had a way of adapting, innovating, and surprising those who underestimated them. Echo's soft glow filled the small room, a comforting presence that reminded Talia she was never truly alone. And as the twin suns of Zyphera dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the academy, Talia knew the laughter of the alien cadets would not last forever. Humans had only begun to show what they could do, and Echo would be there to help them every step of the way. The morning air was sharp with the scent of metal and ozone, a reminder that the academy was both alive and dangerous. Talia tightened her boots and adjusted her pack, making sure Echo clung securely to her belt. The cub's golden glow pulsed softly, almost in rhythm with her own heartbeat. Today's exercise wasn't just about skill, it was a test of courage. The instructors had called it a high-risk recon simulation, though Talia suspected it might be more than that. The cadets gathered in the central courtyard, a vast open area that overlooked the academy's training fields. Floating platforms hovered above, holographic maps projected in midair. Zoran, the crystalline instructor from Talia's first day, stood at the front, its faceted surface catching the sunlight and scattering it like a prism. "Today's simulation," it began, "will test not only your abilities but your decision-making under pressure. You will enter the field as teams. Some obstacles are predictable, others will force you to adapt. Failure will teach you more than success ever could." Today, she would do the same. The simulation began with a loud hum. The ground beneath them shifted, transforming into a dense forest of metal trees and synthetic foliage. Glowing signal nodes floated among the branches, some protected by moving energy barriers. Cadets scattered, each choosing their own approach. The twins sprinted ahead, trying to use speed to dominate the exercise, while the hulking cadet moved carefully, watching for hazards. Talia crouched and whispered to Echo, "Scan for unusual patterns first. Don't just look for the obvious nodes." The cub chirped in response, its glowing eyes scanning the surroundings. Within moments, it detected a hidden signal node camouflaged by a flickering holographic barrier. Echo let out a sequence of soft tones, which Talia interpreted quickly. She moved toward the node, avoiding the energy pulses with precise timing. The twins were still rushing blindly, triggering false alarms and setting off minor traps. Talia's patience and careful observation gave her an advantage. She activated the node and retrieved the data before most cadets had even approached it. Echo leapt from branch to branch, scanning additional nodes and sending alerts to Talia. Her strategy relied not on speed, but on foresight and adaptation, a distinctly human approach. The exercise was progressing smoothly until the unexpected happened. A series of rogue holographic drones, programmed to simulate hostile intruders, appeared and began attacking the cadets. The twins panicked, scattering in different directions. The hulking cadet tried to confront a drone head-on but was forced back by its unpredictable movements. Talia's heart raced. This was more than a test of skill, it was a test of composure. She whispered to Echo, "Analyze their patterns. There's a rhythm here, but it's not obvious." Echo's small body glowed brighter as it scanned the drones. Within moments, the cub chirped a series of tones, signaling the timing of the drone's attacks. Using the information, Talia led her team through the chaos, avoiding drones and guiding others who had become trapped in the field. The twins, initially mocking her, found themselves following her directions, realizing too late that her careful observation and Echo's abilities were keeping them alive. One drone lunged at Talia directly, its mechanical claws swinging with lethal precision. She ducked, using a tree trunk for cover, and activated a nearby signal node. Echo mimicked the drone's movement pattern, creating a diversion that allowed Talia to escape. The twins stared, mouths agape, as the human girl and her small companion outmaneuvered what they had considered a straightforward threat. By the midpoint of the simulation, Talia's team had collected most of the required data nodes. However, a final challenge awaited. A complex labyrinth of holographic walls, shifting pathways, and energy barriers designed to confuse even the most skilled cadets. The instructors had warned that this section would require both analytical thinking and creativity. The twins argued about which route to take, while the hulking cadet waited silently, studying the labyrinth. Talia crouched beside Echo. "We can't just follow the obvious paths," she said. "It's designed to trap anyone who thinks linearly. We need to think differently." Echo chirped, its glowing eyes scanning the walls. It detected subtle fluctuations in the energy barriers, revealing hidden passages invisible to others. Talia led her team through these secret routes, moving quickly but carefully. The twins tried to follow but got caught in a looping section, triggering alarms and causing minor setbacks. The hulking cadet kept pace, impressed by Talia's foresight and the cub's ability to read the environment. Finally, they reached the central chamber of the labyrinth. Floating holographic displays indicated that the final node was protected by a complex encryption system. Other cadets had already tried brute force approaches and failed. Talia studied the patterns carefully. "Echo mimicked the signals from the surrounding barriers," she whispered. The cub's body glowed as it emitted a series of precise chirps, replicating the energy frequencies. The node responded immediately, decrypting itself and transmitting the data. Talia collected it calmly while other cadets looked on in disbelief. The twins were speechless, their attempts to reach the node rendered useless by the human's unorthodox method. Even the hulking cadet nodded, a rare smile appearing on his face. When the simulation ended, the instructors appeared, floating above the field. Zoran's crystalline form reflected the fading light of the virtual suns. This exercise was designed to test your composure, creativity, and teamwork under pressure, it said. Some of you relied on speed or strength alone. Others adapted, observed, and used resources in unexpected ways. The latter demonstrates the human approach, an unpredictable combination of intuition and innovation. Many had laughed at Talia on her first day, yet now they could not deny her success. The twins scowled, clearly frustrated that their arrogance had failed them. The hulking cadet approached her, placing a large hand on her shoulder. "You handled that well," he said. "Your cub, it's more than a pet, it's a partner." "We work best together," Echo chirped softly, as if acknowledging the praise. That evening, Talia returned to her quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. She placed Echo on the bed, letting the small cub curl up at her feet. She reviewed the events of the day, noting how observation, adaptation, and trust in her companion had made the difference. Humans were often underestimated because they did not rely on raw power or conventional methods. That underestimation, she realized, was an advantage. Sleep came slowly, but Talia's mind was alive with strategies and ideas. The academy was full of skilled beings, each confident in their abilities. But humans had a way of surprising others, through ingenuity, courage, and the ability to think differently under pressure. The next morning brought new lessons, but Talia felt a growing sense of confidence. She had faced real danger, navigated complex challenges, and proven that humans could excel where others relied on convention. Echo, clinging to her belt, seemed to sense her determination, glowing brighter than usual as if in agreement. The academy was beginning to understand that humans were not to be dismissed lightly. And Talia, with her small but remarkable companion, intended to show them just how capable they truly were. The morning on Zyphera dawned bright and clear, but the calm belied the tension building at the academy. Cadets moved quickly between buildings, their expressions alert and serious. Today's training was not a simulation, the instructors warned. Something unusual had been detected in the outer sectors of the academy grounds, strange energy signals inconsistent with the usual exercises. Talia tightened her pack and adjusted Echo, who clung securely to her belt. The small cub's fur shimmered in the early light, its eyes scanning the horizon with an intelligence that seemed beyond ordinary. Talia knew this would not be a routine day. Something felt different. Echo's subtle vibrations hinted at irregular energy patterns that the cadets were not aware of. The instructors called all teams to the central training courtyard. Zoran's crystalline body glinted in the sunlight, and its voice resonated through the plaza. "Cadets," it began, "we have detected unusual energy signatures in the outer sectors. They are not part of today's exercises. All teams must investigate and report their findings. Exercise caution." This was not a test in the traditional sense. It was a real challenge, one that could require quick thinking and improvisation. Humans thrived in such moments. As the team spread out, Talia moved carefully with Echo at her side. The small cub's glowing eyes swept across the terrain, its ears twitching as it analyzed subtle fluctuations in the energy fields. "There," Talia whispered, pointing to a faint shimmer in the distance. "Echo says the source is there. Let's move quietly." Talia, moving deliberately, followed Echo's guidance and navigated the hazards with precision. As they approached the source of the signals, Talia's pulse quickened. A series of small drones, clearly not part of any academy exercise, hovered in the clearing. Their shapes were irregular, jagged, and unlike any standard training drones. They emitted low hums that interfered with the cadets' instruments, making conventional detection methods unreliable. The twins froze, uncertain how to proceed. "We can't deal with these," one whispered. "They're unpredictable." It emitted a series of chirps, mimicking and decoding the drone's signals. Talia listened carefully, recognizing the pattern hidden in the erratic hums. "They're following a sequence," Talia said. "Not random. If we disrupt it at the right moment, we can neutralize them without damage. We use their own signals against them. Watch and follow." The drones' movements became predictable, and the cadets were able to guide them into containment fields. The twins stared in disbelief. Their speed and strength had been useless against a challenge that required observation, timing, and adaptability. Talia's approach, combining human ingenuity and Echo's unique abilities, had succeeded where conventional methods failed. As the last drone was secured, Zoran appeared beside the clearing, its crystalline surface reflecting the sunlight. "Remarkable," it said. "Most species rely on standard tactics. You relied on analysis, adaptation, and creativity. Humans continue to demonstrate unexpected strengths." Some were quietly impressed, others still skeptical, but none could deny Talia's success. The twins muttered under their breath, clearly frustrated that their assumptions about human weakness had been proven wrong. Zoran continued, its voice low and resonant. "However, these drones are not the end. Our analysis indicates an external source controlling them. This is not an academy exercise. Further investigation is required." The terrain became more challenging, with unstable energy fields and collapsing structures. Talia relied on Echo's abilities to detect subtle shifts, guiding her team safely through hazards that others would have stumbled over. As they neared a rocky outcrop at the edge of the Academy's outer sector, they discovered a hidden control node, partially camouflaged by the environment. The device emitted pulsing energy that synchronized with the drones they had neutralized earlier. It was clearly an external control mechanism designed to test or disrupt the Academy's defenses. The twins approached cautiously, hesitant to touch the device. Talia studied the signals carefully. "Echo, mimic the pulse patterns," she instructed. The cub's body glowed, and it emitted a precise series of chirps. The device responded, aligning its energy patterns with Echo's signals. Using the opportunity, Talia manipulated nearby nodes to override the control frequencies. The drones, now fully under the Academy's control again, powered down safely. The external threat had been neutralized without a single casualty or damage to the grounds. Zoran appeared once more, its crystalline form reflecting the late morning sun. "This operation demonstrates the importance of flexibility, observation, and creativity. Many would have relied on force or rigid protocol and failed. Humans continue to show that adaptability and ingenuity can surpass raw strength." The twins' previous mockery had evaporated, replaced by a reluctant respect. The hulking cadet gave Talia a firm nod. "You handled that brilliantly. I've never seen anyone coordinate with a companion like that to solve a complex problem. Together, we can see patterns others miss and act on them quickly. Let today serve as a reminder that the unexpected can become the decisive factor in any challenge." Humans were often underestimated because others relied on predictable tactics. But in moments of uncertainty, humans thrived. Observation, intuition, and adaptability were strengths that could turn the tide when others failed. Talia's mind raced with ideas for future challenges. She knew the Academy would continue testing the cadets, pushing them to their limits. But she also knew that humans, with their ability to improvise and adapt, would always find a way to excel. Echo chirped softly, sensing Talia's determination. The small cub had proven itself repeatedly, not just as a companion, but as a partner in overcoming impossible odds. Together, they had faced ridicule, complex obstacles, and a real external threat, and emerged victorious. As night fell over Zyphera, Talia gazed out the window at the sprawling academy. Lights glimmered across the campus, shadows stretching under the twin suns. She knew challenges would continue, perhaps even greater than today's. But humans had a way of surprising others, a resilience and creativity that few expected. With Echo by her side, Talia felt ready for anything. The laughter and doubt of the past days seemed distant, overshadowed by the quiet knowledge that humans, small or underestimated though they might be, could face danger with intelligence, courage, and resourcefulness. Tomorrow would bring new tests, new obstacles, and perhaps new rivalries. But one thing was certain: the Academy and the galaxy would never forget the human who had turned a small cub into an instrument of ingenuity, courage, and unstoppable determination. And Talia, with her tiny companion glowing faithfully at her side, was just beginning to show what humans were truly capable of. The Academy buzzed with activity the next morning, but today the energy felt different. Cadets moved with purpose, conversations low and serious. Word of Talia's recent success had spread quickly. Whispers of admiration replaced the laughter she had faced on her first day. Even the twins who had mocked her now exchanged cautious glances, their confidence shaken by her consistent victories. Talia adjusted Echo on her belt as she made her way to the central courtyard. The cub's small body glowed faintly, a soft reassurance that she was not alone. Together they had navigated simulations, unpredictable drones, and even a real external threat. Now the Academy's instructors had something new planned, a leadership evaluation. Zoran's crystalline form glinted in the morning light, its multifaceted surface refracting the twin suns. Today, it announced, cadets will demonstrate their ability to lead, coordinate, and make decisions under pressure. Each team will face complex challenges designed to test not only skill, but judgment and creativity. The highest-performing teams may be considered for advanced missions. Let's show them what humans can do, Echo chirped softly, responding as if agreeing, its glow brightening slightly. The challenge began. A massive holographic field unfolded, simulating an alien outpost under siege. Drones patrolled the perimeter, energy barriers shifted unpredictably, and holographic citizens, part of the simulation, were trapped in hazardous zones. The team had to rescue the citizens, neutralize threats, and secure critical data, all within a limited time frame. Cadets scattered, some rushing forward recklessly, others hesitating. Talia stayed calm, scanning the environment with Echo's guidance. "We need to prioritize," she murmured. "Observe patterns first, then act. Chaos will only make it worse." Echo's eyes glowed, scanning drones, patrol routes, and energy barrier sequences. The twins charged ahead, triggering alarms and nearly trapping themselves in shifting walls. Talia moved deliberately, guiding her team along safe routes while coordinating rescues. Echo leapt ahead, mimicking drone signals and manipulating barriers to create openings. Citizens were freed efficiently, and threats neutralized before the other cadets had fully understood the field. As the simulation intensified, a new obstacle emerged. A malfunctioning control system created unpredictable drone behavior, attacking indiscriminately. Panic rippled through the teams. Talia's heart pounded, but she remained calm. Humans thrived in uncertainty, and this was the moment to prove it. "Echo, analyze their patterns," she instructed. The cub's small body shimmered brightly as it emitted precise chirps, mimicking the drone's erratic signals. Talia interpreted the sequences and directed her team to counter the drones strategically, turning their aggression against them. The twins tried to intervene but were quickly outmaneuvered. Even the hulking cadet was impressed, following her guidance without question. Step by step, node by node, Talia led her team to victory. They neutralized the last drone, secured the final data points, and safely guided all citizens to designated safe zones. The holographic field collapsed, and the Academy's instructors appeared, observing from above. Zoran's voice resonated through the courtyard. "This demonstration exceeds expectations. The human cadet has led her team with ingenuity, adaptability, and courage." She anticipated threats, utilized resources creatively, and inspired cooperation under pressure. "You led them all." It is defined by the ability to adapt, to think critically, and to inspire others to act effectively. Today, the human cadet demonstrates these qualities in a remarkable way. She has earned not only respect but consideration for advanced missions that require creativity, courage, and resourcefulness. Humans had long been underestimated in interstellar academies, often seen as fragile or unsophisticated. Yet here, in the eyes of some of the galaxy's most elite cadets, she had proven otherwise. Later in the quiet of the evening, Talia walked through the academy corridors, Echo clinging to her belt. Cadets passed by, some nodding in respect, others whispering in admiration. The twins lingered, avoiding eye contact, clearly reconsidering their earlier assumptions. Even those who had once laughed openly at her now gave subtle signs of acknowledgement. Talia smiled faintly to herself. "They're starting to understand," she murmured. Echo chirped in response, as if agreeing. "Humans adapt, humans innovate. Humans surprise when it matters most." The following days brought new opportunities. Talia was assigned to a joint exploration team tasked with investigating unexplored sectors of Zyphera. Her team included cadets from multiple species, some skeptical, others cautiously respectful. Yet all would follow her guidance because she had proven her ability to lead. During the first field mission, a natural hazard arose, a collapsing canyon with unstable energy fields. Other teams panicked, unsure how to proceed. Talia studied the terrain, analyzing the patterns of the energy shifts. "Follow me," she instructed, her voice calm but firm. Echo scouted ahead, its small body glowing as it detected safe pathways. Step by step, the team navigated the canyon, avoiding hazards that would have trapped less observant explorers. Once they reached safety, the alien cadets looked at her with newfound respect. One murmured, "I didn't think a human could handle this." Talia shrugged lightly, smiling. "It's not about strength." It's about observation, planning, and acting when it matters. Echo chirped proudly, perching on her shoulder as if to punctuate her point. By the end of the mission, Talia's reputation had solidified. Instructors and cadets alike acknowledged that humans brought something unique to the table: the ability to see possibilities others overlooked, to adapt under pressure, and to inspire teamwork in unexpected ways. Back at the academy, Talia received her official recognition. Zoran presented her with a certificate of achievement and a recommendation for advanced leadership training. Humans continue to demonstrate that ingenuity and courage are strengths that transcend size, speed, or conventional ability, Zoran said. This cadet exemplifies what your species can achieve. She glanced around at the other cadets, some smiling, others nodding in respect, and realized that humans had earned more than acknowledgement. They had earned a place in the academy as equals, capable of achievements that no one could predict. That night, Talia sat by the window in her quarters, looking out at the sprawling academy. Lights shimmered across the buildings, reflections dancing in the twin moon's soft glow. She stroked Echo's fur gently, feeling a quiet sense of satisfaction. Together, they had turned ridicule into respect, weakness into strength, and doubt into admiration. "Tomorrow will bring new challenges," she whispered. "But we're ready. Humans are ready. And we'll keep proving it." Echo chirped softly, its tiny body radiating warmth and confidence. The academy had been a place of doubt and laughter when she arrived, a place where her species was underestimated. But now, humans had shown their value, not through sheer power, but through courage, adaptability, and creativity. Talia knew that wherever she went, this lesson would remain true. Humans could face the impossible, overcome it, and leave a mark that no one could ignore. As she drifted to sleep, she imagined the future: advanced missions, unexplored worlds, and challenges that would push every skill to the limit. Yet she also knew that humans, with determination and ingenuity, would rise to every occasion. Echo curled up beside her, a faithful companion in the adventures to come. Together they were unstoppable, a small but powerful force proving to the galaxy that humans were not just survivors. They were leaders, innovators, and a species to be respected. Talia's final thought before sleep took her was simple but resolute. The laughter and doubt of the past were gone. What remained was recognition, respect, and the knowledge that humans could achieve greatness when it mattered most. And with Echo by her side, the possibilities were endless.